I wonder what it's like for you, and I hope that you'll share it with us as deeply as you can. But you've always been a media-friendly guy. I mean, any media person around the world that I've ever spoken to, holds you in high regard, and they know that you're a go-to guy. You're a guy that if they have a question, you'll answer the question. But you were in the top 10 in the world. I mean, you were on your way potentially to number one. And I believe that you certainly have a damn good chance to be number one as you go forward. But what's it like when you go through a year where maybe things don't go your way, you get an injury and everything else, and you go from top 10 and chance to go for number one to mid 20s and having to climb again?
It's sport. Is the simple answer. It's sport. That's the way it is. Stuff happens in sport that's out of your control sometimes. Golf's a little different. We're playing against the golf course, so it's how I perform. But when I was, number 3 in the world, and then I tore the intercostals and obliques, and put a dampener on that season, that's frustrating. But ultimately, that's something that I did. So it's kind of my own fault. Why did I tear the... It's actually, looking at it now, it's kind of interesting because it's all connected. So the intercostals and the obliques tore because the right shoulder blade wasn't moving correctly. And it's not a lack of strength. It was a restriction in there. And I was told about it, explained it the other day, and I've kind of forgotten it, but it's basically a sort of a tightness in the pec muscles. That's why the shoulders are always a little rounded. Some tightness in there. They need to be a little bit need to stretch them out, loosen them up. Then the shoulders will go back, and then the scaps can work and pulling the shoulders back into the correct position. And apparently it was also why the shoulder had a kind of easy way to come out of the socket. It's not that there's a lack of strength there, but it kind of assisted, again, with certain tightness in certain areas, assisted the way the shoulder decided to come out of its socket when I hit the ice in Colorado. And it's interesting those two things are connected, but going back to it, it's, tearing the muscles is kind of my own fault. It was something that, maybe that was a part of the body that it wasn't loose enough, wasn't spending enough time stretching and taking care of and maintaining, because we play an awful lot of golf. If you don't look after the body and it breaks down, it's your tool. It's what you make your money with and win tournaments with. So I only have myself to blame when that happened, when I was making that rise up the world rankings. So the way I look at it is these things sort of happen, and you have to be ticking all the boxes. And as Hogan said, sometimes there's not enough time in the day to work on all this stuff. But it's part of the game. It's sport. You gotta look at everything. And the guys who are at the top are the ones who are looking at everything. They're making sure that everything's functioning, with their bodies, with their equipment, the putting, the chipping, the driving. It's all the mental game. It all has to blend. And so, for me now, it's just working at making sure all those boxes are ticked, because I know I can get back there. Now, how high up the world rankings can I get? We'll see, depending on how well everybody else is playing. I can only play as well as I can play. But I got to 3 before. I'd like to think I can get to 3 again. Maybe I can go a little bit higher than that. There's guys playing amazing golf, but we'll have to find out and see.